So here we are, scuba diving in Cozumel. I was really looking forward to this. I was really excited to see what we would find, and I had some species that I really wanted to see and I've wanted to see for ages. So let's see how it goes. Here we are, descended to the bottom. Didn't take too long to get down. We weren't that deep, but it was still deeper than I usually have gone. Deeper than in the Keys. And here we are, you can start to see a little bit of the reef. This was sort of a patch reef that we were visiting, with lots of open sandy areas around. Both the sandy areas and the reefs themselves were really good places to check for fish. There was lots of diversity basically everywhere. Here you can see coming up a coney grouper in the distance. I have seen them before, but it's one of those species that I've never seen in Florida. It's definitely more of a Caribbean species. And this here is an ocean triggerfish, which is, before this dive I'd seen one in the Florida Keys, but it's definitely sort of more of a species that prefers pelagic waters there, like open, sort of more open ocean. But around Cozumel, it was very different because there were lots of them around these shallow reefs. And I'd never seen that before. As you'll see throughout the rest of this video, there were tons of these ocean triggerfish. Here's a sort of a nice overview of the different species of sponges and coral. The sponge and coral formations here, in some places they were just magnificent, and just these giant barrel sponges. It was just really like a sort of alien world that you were entering into. One thing you probably will notice during the course of this dive is that there's a pretty strong current, and that's usual for this spot. So what we were actually doing here is called a drift dive, where we sort of go into the current and let the current kind of pull us along. And we relax and go with the current and look around as we go. And the current sort of kind of pulls us along through all these different reef and open habitats here. There's a white-spotted filefish. There were quite a few of them around, actually. They're very photogenic. Managed to get a nice couple of shots of them. And you can see the current pulling us here. You can actually see, like, I'm not kicking there. That's just the current taking us. Now, it sounds like it might actually be kind of scary or nerve-wracking, but I found it very relaxing, actually, just to sort of let the current take you. And at the end, when we go back out, the boat sort of comes over to pick us up. Here you can kind of see in the distance there's a sand tilefish there, which is a very cool species. I'd only ever seen one once. Hard to get a shot of, though. There's a rock beauty. Again, tough to get a shot of them. Oh, and this was really cool. See here, this is called a Splendid Toadfish, and the really cool thing about this species is that it's actually endemic to Cozumel and the sort of immediate area. You can't find it anywhere else in the world, and it's this really amazing looking fish. And it's one of the specialties of the area. That was one of the things I was really hoping to see on this dive, and I was really happy that we managed to find one. It was the dive master actually who found it, so very thankful to him. That was an unforgettable find. Oh, and this was another one. This was another huge target here. See, my dad spotted this. This is a Queen Triggerfish. This was one of the main things that I wanted to see on this trip. Here's me getting the shot. You can see me getting it, and you can just see how happy I am. Just see me turn around, just, yeah, give the thumbs up. So we got really lucky there. That was fantastic. Here there's a sargassum triggerfish, which is another species that I've never seen anywhere else, and another ocean triggerfish there. The sargassum triggerfish is sort of a misnomer because I've never seen it in sargassum, and I've seen very few images or videos of them associating with sargassum. And of course here they're hanging around reefs, and there were quite a few of them. I didn't get a very good shot, but these are called fairy basslets, otherwise known as royal grammas. And what these do is they sort of swim kind of upside down underneath reef ledges, and they're really amazingly gorgeous. I wish I'd managed to get a better shot, but it's just really hard because they like to be in the dark, right? So you have to have a good flashlight. Here's a black triggerfish. I'd only ever seen one before, so it was nice to see them. There were quite a few of them around. Here's another coney grouper. See, the shot's a little bit better. Still, they could be pretty nondescript when they want to be. Like a lot of the groupers, they can sort of change color. Here's a nice big group of snappers and grunts here. Mainly grunts, actually. You can see at the top here, there's a white margate, which is the first one I'd ever seen. And there's also a lot of cottonwicks in there, which is, as I've mentioned before in one of my other videos, I've only ever seen them at Phil Foster. So it was pretty funny. They were pretty common here. And there's the requisite spotted goatfish. These days, it doesn't seem to matter where I am. I always seem to come across a spotted goatfish.
Just incredible, that. Just amazing.
What'd you see?
Pretty much everything we wanted. We saw, you spotted the Queen Triggerfish, one of the biggest targets. There was oceanic triggerfish everywhere, black triggerfish, sargassum triggerfish. There was a couple of chalk bass. I saw some fairy basslets, white margate, sand tilefish, sunshine fish. What else? Oh yeah, of course, Splendid Toadfish. That was one of the biggest targets. You saw one. It's good.
So after that first dive, we moved to a second spot, which had less current. So this one wasn't so much a drift dive. This was more sort of a standard sort of dive, but it was about the same depth. And again, sort of a patch reef with a nice big sandy area next to it. There's a bit more seagrass here though, and here you can actually see us going down to the reef, descending. Here's us at the surface. You'll start to see in a few moments here the depth meter at the bottom right slowly increasing as we go down. Here we are, deflating the BCDs, slowly going down, very slowly. Take your time while scuba diving. You don't ever have to be in a rush. Well, unless you're running out of air. Then you gotta be in a rush. Unless you're really deep. Actually, don't listen to me. So yeah, here's us just going down. See the bottom coming closer there. And here we're pretty much at the bottom. And we start heading along the reef here. Here we're pretty much at the bottom. A little bit less reef structure here, but it was still really nice. Lovely clear water too. I'm checking carefully here in the different crags and stuff, and oh yeah, there's a smooth trunk fish. Yeah, I always try and get those guys. They're so cute. I've heard people say they look like little handbags. I don't know if I quite agree, but they're definitely very, very cute. Oh, here's a Graysby here, small grouper. Those are very common, but they've got there's two of them actually. Yeah, they got a really nice pattern to them. Nice spotted pattern. Queen parrotfish there. Lots of blue chromis. And here I get a shot of this red spotted hawkfish. I have seen them before, but I've never managed to get a shot that was that good. Inspecting some of the corals and sponges here. There's a spotted drum under the ledge there. It's a tomtate. Yeah, I still got tomtates down there. Those fish have a huge range. You can get them up in North Carolina, and they're all the way down in Cozumel. Here's us going a little bit out into the sand flats here. The sand flats can actually be just as good as the reefs sometimes. See here, there's these chalk bass here, which were pretty much only out over the sand flats, and those are the first ones I'd ever seen, so that was great. And here there's the dive master found this nice Atlantic peacock flounder. It's a really beautiful fish. Check that out. It's a young angelfish there, hiding amongst a giant barrel sponge. I think the Latin name is Zestospongia. Here's another one of those white spotted filefishes. Here's a sort of big group of snappers and grunts here. I found there were lots of sort of these big congregations around the reefs in Cozumel. This is a smooth trunk fish, mangrove snapper, French grunt. There's a couple of inshore lizardfish there in the sand flats, as well as this porcupine fish. Now they have beautiful eyes. Like, the thing about the porcupine fish, and actually pretty much all puffer fish, is they've got incredibly beautiful eyes. They look like sort of galaxies or something. There's a couple of harlequin bass there. There was actually a lot of these rosy razorfish around, which is a species that is not common in Florida, but there were quite a few here in the sandy areas. Look at those sponges. That was a azure vase sponge, I think. I love those things. They're amazing. And we came up at the end of the dive to this sort of big, I think it was a big concrete block here. And there were a bunch of white margate hanging out around it. White margate, that's another one that's not common in Florida, but you get quite a few of them further down in the Bahamas. There's a nice macro shot there of a cleaner shrimp. And there was a bunch of these Caribbean spiny lobsters as well, hiding under that big block. There was also this nice flamingo tongue snail. I managed to get a nice macro shot of that. I'd seen them before, but the shot I got before was terrible. And that was about the end of that dive. It was really unforgettable, amazing. Like, I would say this was probably one of my top 10 dives, if not top 10 life experiences, to be honest. We saw so many new, amazing things. And it was just really a great introduction to scuba diving in the Caribbean. I would highly recommend, if you're ever in Cozumel, checking out the local scuba dive spots. And the dive charter that we went out with for this dive was great too. It was really good. It was a husband and wife team that took us out. We felt comfortable the entire time. They were really great guides. They found a few amazing things, like they found the Splendid Toadfish for us, which was great. I'll put the name and information for the company in the description. I would highly recommend checking them out if you're ever in the area and you're looking for a dive charter. So that's about it for this dive. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed doing it. And I've got lots more to come, so keep an eye out for future content, and I'll see you next time.